To go. Okay. Alright. Mental health is one of the biggest issues that people don't talk about because they don't want to. It gets pushed to one side, and when it does come up, people go, "Oh well, it's fine." Now, I've recently learned about a thing that they do in Australia. It's called an OK Day, where they check in on each other and their friends and family's mental health, and they have what's called an OK Day. And I think that's kind of cool, where they actually figure out if there's an issue, if there's a problem, they can take this day to themselves, to talk to their friends, their families, to, really kind of breathe and just sort of, revive themselves a bit, talk about their issues, talk through things, really kind of get things off their chests and just sort of, make mental health okay. Like it's not a big deal. Like it's not this big secret that there's something wrong with you. But they've turned it into this normalisation, if that's the right way to put it. But they've made it normal so that people who are having problems, whether it's just a normal everyday issue and they're just overwhelmed and they can't cope, or whether they're having severe anxiety, depression, or whatever, and they just need a mental health day, and they call it an OK Day. I just think, wow, that's kind of cool. And I think more people, more countries, I think everybody should have one. I think it should be normalised everywhere. I really do. I think there should be a normalisation of mental health everywhere, and I think we should all I think every country around the world should have an OK Day allocated, so everybody can turn around and say, I need an OK Day, whether it be at school, work, play, anything. I don't care what you're doing. If they turn around and say, I need an OK Day, it's fine. Just and we all understand, and we're all okay, and it's fine, and it's no problem, and everyone is just kind of going, lots of vans outside today, but everyone's like going, okay, that's fine, and everybody talks, and everyone's like whatever, and nobody's having an issue because it's normal and it's every day, and it's not a big deal to take a day like that and have it be a stigma that mental health is at the moment, and it is. Mental health is a stigma right now. And it's weird to think that, but it is. If you have mental health issues, you've got this stigma on you. And although it's becoming normalising for women to have mental health issues, it's still not completely normal for men to have them. But it should be. Because men take up the majority of the suicide rate and the majority of the mental health rate. So it should be normalised for everybody, right across the board. It is so much harder for men to get help with their mental health. We know this. I am well aware of this. We've been through this so many times. But to normalise it to the point where it is okay, regardless of who you are, what you're doing, where you live, whether you work from home, whether you work in the freaking Antarctic, it doesn't matter. If you turn around and say, I need an OK Day, it's normal, it's fine, and everyone just kind of goes, okay, fine, and they're like bundle around. It's like you talk to your best friend, you talk to your therapist, you talk to whoever, and everybody understands what you're talking about because it's normal and it's fine and it's not a big deal to the point where you're being looked at like you're weird or like there's something wrong with you. Everybody has this concept that if you are having an OK Day or need an OK Day, that you're not okay here. Mentally, emotionally, something's wrong. something so wrong that you can't cope, whether it be family related, work related, play related. It shouldn't matter. If you're having an okay day, it's because something's really got you here, mentally, emotionally, stress related, and it shouldn't matter what it is, but something's really, really gotten to you and you just can't cope anymore. And you need time to breathe, to reevaluate, to talk to somebody, whoever it is. It shouldn't matter who it is you need to talk to. And even if it's your boss or your best friend or even a therapist, it shouldn't matter who it is you need to talk to. It could even be your mum. Yeah, I need to talk to my mum. And go and have a cuddle. Oh, I need to be cuddle, mum. It shouldn't matter. Because I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that go, I just need me mum. It's just one of those days. I just need me mum. You know, the whole world just caves in on you. I mean, I'm pretty sure that every adult out there at one point in their time gets to a point where the whole world just feels like it's just caving in on them and all you want is your mum to give you a hug. You know, or your gran, or somebody you love and care for, like your mum or your gran or your dad or whatever. Just them to give you a hug and tell you you're going to be all right, and to sit there and listen to them. So that you'll listen to you, sorry, not them. So, you know, make you your favourite like drink and your favourite food, and, you know, real home comforts that make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, you know, like you did as a kid, you know. We all have those days. And it should be normal, worldwide. It shouldn't be that we still turn around and go, I'm having mental health issues, and people still look at us like we're weird. Or like there's something wrong with you. And it's like, oh yeah, really? Why? What do you have? Oh, I'm depressed. And people go, oh no, you're not. Nah, you can't be depressed, you're fine. Because it still happens. Just because depression has so many different issues. There's so many ways people can be depressed. And I should know, I've studied more. You know, there are so many ways you can be depressed. There's so many different versions of depression. You know, and if you add any anxieties onto that, or other mental health issues on top of that, and then you add, if you have social anxieties or social issues on top of that, then, or personality problems, like personality disabilities, like autism, ADHD, ADD, you know, because they're personality disorders. Funny that. I know that people don't really class them as that, but they actually are, because of what they do to people, and the way they work. I know they're not just classed as personality disorders, they're like social disorders and emotional disorders, but they're actual personality disorders as well, especially autism, because of how it affects them. But yeah, there's, you know, and they're also like learning disabilities as well, which is weird because like autistics are like super intelligent, even the non-verbal ones, which is what most people do not understand about autistics. They're actually highly intelligent. But yeah, so there's lots of reasons why people do not understand mental health issues, and why people are still looked at as being really weird and don't want to listen and don't want to get involved. And so, because depression is the most common one, and anxiety is becoming quite common as well, people are like, oh yeah, well, you'll be fine, you'll be okay. Because they, you know, oh, depressive, oh, you're just sad, you're fine, I'm sad too, so it's like, get over it. Depression isn't just about being sad. It goes so much deeper. Everyone has sad days, but if you're depressed, it's much deeper than that. You're not just sad, you're lonely, and you have this feeling of absolute dread on you. You're not just sad, you're dreading the concept of being awake, being up, being around people. There's this feeling of I can't be here and I don't need this and I don't want this and I just want to be in bed. I want to curl up and go to sleep and I can't cope. And depending on what stage your depression is and what part and what, you know, how bad it is, depends on how far down that rabbit hole you go, because it is quite a rabbit hole. You know, if you're still at the first stages of depression, cognitive behavioural therapy will help you actually heal you. And although it's not healing as you're permanently healed and it's over, it's done. See, the one thing people don't understand about therapy, because that's a very common theme as well. Oh, well, if you've just got all that, if you've got mental health issues, go into therapy. I've done it myself, right? Well, I've made a comment and somebody's just taken one slip of that comment and go, well, don't assume I'm not in therapy. And I've gone, yeah, but if you actually read what I say, that's not what I've said. I've said therapy is not a quick fix. But, I'm sorry I assumed. But therapy isn't. Once you're actually in therapy, it's the beginning of a healing process. And I say the beginning because that's what it is. So once you actually acknowledge your your mental health, you manage to get into a therapy process and you start it. It's a beginning, not the whole thing. So you start the healing process. And once you finish your therapy, you come away with a lifelong set of rules for you to look back on and live by, so that when you're struggling, when you're in a position where you need an okay day, I so love that, the okay day, I love it. I really, really would want to, I would love that to be a thing here in England. I really would, because it would make life so much better for people. But yeah, you go back on these notes and you go back on these rules and these things that you and your therapist have spoken about and talked about, and you remind yourself of these things, and it helps you to breathe, it helps you to remember, and it helps you to relax that mental stress, and it helps you to start again, restart the healing process. You know, because therapy is just the beginning. The very first therapy set that you do is just the beginning. You then have a lifelong mission to continue healing. And if you're really lucky, there are people out there that actually do cure themselves eventually. And it can take years, you know. But it can happen. And there are people out there that never heal, but they spend their life on this journey. You know, revisiting and then going back into therapy, getting a new set of rules because those rules have stopped working. You know, so they need a new set and a new perspective. You know, and sometimes that's all it's needed. Sometimes you need a fresh set of people, a new therapist, some new help, and a new set of rules to live by for a little while. And you don't always heal, but you do always have a path that you can live by. That's what therapy does. Therapy is this great white light, this amazing thing that heals you instantly, gives you this great thing that makes you all better. It's a process, and it's the start of your healing. You're moving forward in your life, and if you're really, really good, you're really lucky, you will heal completely. There are people that do heal completely, you know, but it's not a 5-minute fix. It takes years of continual work and effort and energy, and you know, so it should be recognised rather than a constant kind of, oh, people are weird if they have mental health issues. People with depression are just not depressed, and people with this is not that. Oh no, God, look at that person. It's just, the stigma should be going away. It should no longer be there, especially after all the COVID stuff that we've been through lately. And with all of that, the concept of mental health being a stigma should be gone. And I love it. I love this concept of an okay day. And it should be normalised here in England. In fact, it should be normalised everywhere. Really should. It should absolutely be normalised everywhere. I love my therapy. My therapy is brilliant. I mean, it lasts for a while and then I end up going backwards. I do. This will last for a little while. But if I do start yelling, screaming and shouting again, you've got to tell me, because it will take time. But I love my therapy. My therapy is great. But thing is, we need that kind of thing here. We need people to be recognised and loved and cared for, regardless of how their brains work and how their mental health works. Rather than be stigmatised and treated with derision, they need to be treated with kindness and love and care and normalised and normal, like they're normal human beings. Because they are. They're normal human beings. They really are. They just have an issue up here where they struggle to cope with normal everyday things, where they become overwhelming and overpowering, and it just in the head. So I like it, I love it, and I do believe that everyone in the whole world should adopt this concept of an okay day. I think it's cool. Anyway, I'm gonna go. So yeah, I am gonna go.